talk about my thoughts on my reading in 2022. This is the first year since 2018, so I guess that's 3 years in a row. I have made reading goals and I have really not met those reading goals. For the past few years, I have really wanted to read more translated literature. And people like Natalie at Curious Reader host these wonderful projects where they facilitate that. And I've tried to join in those, and it's like, then at the beginning of the year, I make this list of classics. Like, first, I thought, well, you know what I'll do is I'll pick a country and I'll work on that country that year. And then I make this very ambitious list that I'm very excited about. And then I put the video out and I'm not excited anymore. And last year I thought, okay, I'll fix it. This year I'll have variation in my countries. And I did. And I started off and I read Crime and Punishment, and it was way too intense to start off the project. It kind of like that to me is worth a year's reading of translated literature. It was amazing, but it was so heavy and intense in both just the writing style, getting through it, and also the subject matter. I mean, it's an amazing book, but it's very suffocating in the reading experience. Like, I kind of think Thomas Hardy, seems light and fluffy compared to Russian literature, or at least Crime and Punishment and Anna Karenina. So then wanted to have some variation, and I got stuck in the Odyssey in February. I really enjoyed half of the Odyssey. I made it halfway through. Why couldn't I just force myself to read the second half? I don't know. So I am just calling it now that I should not make this ambitious, these ambitious lists, because like I said, I'm very excited about them at the beginning of the year. I did also have a list of like chunky books I wanted to get through, and I did get through a couple of those. But then, what takes the wind out of my sails is I'll have one that I don't like in the project. And so when I was trying to do French literature, I did not like Cousin Bet. I got stuck halfway through Cousin Bet. And then I just couldn't make up my mind about whether or not I should DNF it, because I don't do this kind of thing a lot, don't have lists like this a lot. I'm a lot more generous with my just regular day-to-day reading, DNFing those. And I started The Eighth Life as the first of my chunky books I was going to read, and it ended up being a lot more traumatizing of a book than I thought it was going to be. The language was beautiful, but there were some really hard things in there. But now what's interesting is a year out from setting it down, I've gradually been feeling like picking it back up. So I'm really glad I didn't get rid of it. I kept it. I thought it's such a beautiful book. And even I'll show you how far I got, because it's right there. I made it a good chunk of the way. I made it 350, is that my bookmark? No, that can't be my bookmark. Okay, I didn't make it that far. I made it 195 pages. I mean, look how beautiful this book is. So actually, I have been thinking about picking this up again. I did read the Brontes off that chunky book list. But I just think the list will curse it. So I do have a short list of books I would like to read this year. And on that list is some Russian literature. And thank you to my friend Irene, who's also a booktuber. I will link her channel down below, because she has a fair amount of experience with Russian literature. And I told her how I had been wanting to read more Russian literature. I want to read more translated fiction, but I do kind of like the idea of picking a country to kind of work through the, top hits of that country and then move on. Like France, Germany, Italy are also way up high on the list. Kind of got England covered. And, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. She said, well, Crime and Punishment is a very intense thing to start with. She recommended some Pushkin and also Turgenev. And then there was one other guy. I can't remember. And then also it was Christmas time, and she recommended Gogol's The Night Before Christmas. And I loved that story so much. So I think I need to maybe strategize a little bit more differently. But I have a secret TBR and I'm not sharing the list because I'm very excited about this list. And I know as soon as I put it out there and put all that pressure on myself, self-inflicted pressure completely, my own, it's my own issue that I make, I just will feel like such a daunting task. And maybe when I finish a book on there, I'll have like a secret TBR reveal and show you some of the books that were on it. I kind of like that way because I did have my TBR stack that, again, lost momentum with that project because I had like 4 books in a row that I didn't feel like reading. But I like the idea of maybe after I have read some, then letting you know what was on the list. But another of the things I would like to change about my reading in the upcoming year, or something about my reading I'd like to change, is the way that I have so many books on the go. And it's a specific kind of the way that I do this, though, and that's I don't want to have multiple of the same category of book on the go. I like having different books that I'm reading at the same time. I always want an audiobook, and I always want, a physical book. I would never want just one or the other. But I realized I have like 4 biography / memoir or diaries on the go. I don't need 4 of those on the go. Victorian literature, maybe like 1 Victorian book on audiobook and 1 on physical or ebook format. I have like 4 Victorian books that I'm currently reading right now. I don't need to do that. And I'm just really hoping that over the course of the next year, I can be more dedicated about saying, you know what, I really want to, like right now, I'm really wanting to start To Serve Them All My Days by R.F. Delderfield. It's this British modern classic. But I thought, you know what, I'm currently reading Towers in the Mist by Elizabeth Goudge, and it's kind of in that British modern classic category as well. And I thought, why don't I just wait until I finish Towers in the Mist? Because what I do to myself is that I get all excited, I start several books like this, and then I end up freezing. Like I have no idea which book to read next. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Dave Ramsey and his, he's very big on people getting out of consumer debt, which is wonderful. And he has this strategy called the snowball effect for finishing books, or he has for getting out of debt, where you start paying off the smallest debts first, and then you just gain momentum and you pay off your debt that way. And so I figured that's what I should look at, like, reading. That's how I should look at reading my books, kind of. I should just start finishing some of them when I get overwhelmed. And then I've started doing that at the end of this year, just tidying up some of my currently reading, because I had about 15 logged on Goodreads and then about 5 to 7 that hadn't even declared as currently reading on Goodreads, but I was in fact currently reading. So I realized that is an element of my reading life that genuinely brings me stress. And it's so silly that it brings me stress. Like I should either be okay with it or change it. And so I've decided I'm going to try to change it this year because I like the idea of kind of moving from book to book. Here I have finished 1 book. I will now start a new book. So gradually I'm going to be trying to improve on that. And just if I'm just feeling very unmotivated to finish a book, to just be okay with setting it down and DNFing it and moving on to a different book. So I know there were many, many instances in the year where I kind of just had all of the books I was currently reading swirling around in my head, and then I wouldn't know which one to start on, and then I would just go fiddle around on social media. So I like the idea of doing that. I like the idea of having the secret TBR. And then the kinds of books that I would like to read generally, I want to make time for plenty of mysteries. I want to make time for Victorian literature. And I also want to read a lot of books out of the Honey for a Woman's Heart book, it's a book about books, and kind of if you like the kinds of books that I like, I think these are the kinds of books that you would like. It goes through lots of different genres. It includes classics, but it also includes nonfiction. It includes mysteries, science fiction, romance, many different kinds of books. And all just kind of, they've been vetted by people who say that they're well written and worth your time. And there's a lot of titles I had never heard of on there. So I'm also going to be seeking whimsy and comfort in my reading. And so with my Kindred Spirits club, I'll be covering those bases. And then I host a literary parlor Victorian book club in addition to my Patreon book club, where we read a Victorian novel every other month in both of those. So that'll be 6 different books, or 12 books total then, between those 2 Victorian book clubs. But a fair amount will be rereading also. So yes, I'm just hoping for a year of reading hedonism, but also being intentional. So not getting to the end of the year and being like, where did the year go? Why didn't I get to, more books I was excited to get to? And just kind of dilly-dallied with things that I wasn't that excited about. So I, for around 4 years now, have been an extremely generous DNFer, and that is not going anywhere. If I am not enjoying a book, I will step away from it. I will put it down. I can be 70% of the way through it and I will put it down. And I have not regretted being that kind of a reader at all. So yeah, I think that's my general kind of rambly thoughts on the upcoming year of reading hedonism, but reading really good books. I mean, don't we all want to read really good books? I'm hoping it's a memorable reading year, and I'm hoping my kind of being more intentional about, not starting on too many books when I have some, a fair number of uncompleted ones will bring a bit more calm to my reading. And other than that, I don't have many other goals, because it's fun for me to make reading goals. It really is, but I have not followed through in them. But I will show you in the upcoming year, I have a new planner, and this is where I logged like all of my booktube videos that I was putting up, except for October, because October just got crazy. But I had so much fun doing this. I was putting up 3 videos a week. I might go down to 2 videos a week. I don't know. We're going to see how the year goes, but I like not putting the pressure on myself if I don't feel like doing that many videos a week. And another thing that has changed is that my patrons get a video each week. It's not like clockwork, but I try to put up a casual Friday reads for them each week. And we'll see if I follow through with that. So now I'm on to talk about the rereads that I did in 2022, and you will be seeing that video soon. Thank you as always for watching, and I will be back with another video soon. And please comment down below kind of what you're hoping your 2022 reading year will look like.